Oh, is that the time for the Superhero Hub up for discussion? You,
Wow, that's dreadful.
it's time. It's time. It's time for an upbeat, heated, factual-laden discussion. Roll the titles.
Do we have titles?
No.
We'll work on that.
The titles are what are we going to be discussing today, and then you say what we're going to be discussing. They're like the titles.
Oh, well, it's Sherlock, the season finale.
Okay. Hit 'em, hit 'em with the skinny. Hit 'em with the 411. What did you think?
I had mixed feelings. I thought the story of the sister was pretty cool, but it was kind of convenient. I don't like the whole amnesia angle they took. I've never liked the trope of I've miraculously forgotten.
It's more repressed.
It's awful.
It was repressed, like really, 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 really repressed.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Well, it was. You got to look at it as like it worked because like the like look, he had his friend because she said it herself that he was really emotional as a kid. So he had this friend, he was best buddies with him. She got jealous, dumped him in a well, killed him, never said where he was. So then that pretty much made him who he was. You know what I mean? He stopped being emotional towards people, stopped trusting, didn't have any friends, like completely closed himself off, and then repressed the memory of the sister, and then went on from there.
Yeah, but I don't really need that. I don't need an origin story for why he is how he is. I would rather he was just born that way, not he's been made this way because his sister killed his mate. It's a bit, and then he conveniently forgot about it. It's a bit of
Repressed. You keep saying forget. He repressed it.
it's the same thing.
Subliminally, he never forgot, but
Yeah, so now conveniently for plot purposes he can remember it.
he
No,
was forced to remember it because no, because he wasn't exposed to it. He was completely like closed off from it from that long, and then obviously the interaction with not seeing her for however long since he was a kid, and then the interaction with her obviously jogged the memory because that sort of stuff weren't discussed. Redbeard was only discussed by himself, like offhand, like once or twice, thinking it was a dog. You know what I mean? So I think it was very important to him, and the point was that it wasn't really brought up. You know what I mean? Until it was discussed again. So why would it have been? I don't think it was convenient for plot.
why wouldn't it have been? Why wouldn't his mum and dad ever mention the fact they had another kid?
Oh, because she was dead, so they forgot about it. He said she was dead, so why?
They forgot about their daughter.
Yeah, but they must have observed it. No, because he said, didn't he, that she set another fire and she died. So why would they bring it up?
Why wouldn't they bring it up? It's their daughter. She died.
I think because they must have observed that he repressed it and then thought, you wanna know what? There's no point opening wounds. Let's just draw a line under it and then move on.
That's insane.
Well,
That's crazy.
how was
Especially seeing as the whole thing about them when they were introduced last season was that they were meant to be normal
no,
compared to the
no,
two of them.
no. The mum's real smart and the dad's normal.
But
The
then why didn't the dad ever mention it?
I know, because she probably said don't mention it, and it was like, all right then, you know what I mean?
Oh, but
Because
I can let it go. But
the dad's real
it's crap.
dopey. Well, what other issues did you have? Because I'll clean it up for you.
Besides that, I liked it.
Okay.
That's just my one glaring problem. You know, let's take it back to the beginning. What did you think of the plane with the little girl? Did you buy into it?
What do you mean?
Well, I kind of figured all along there was something not right with it, and it was probably the sister.
Yeah, I figured it'd be this because it turned out to be like her little mind palace thingy, didn't it? It
Mm-hmm.
was like her perspective of things, whereas, well, yeah, because it started off with her picking up the phone and saying, "Oh, it's Jim Moriarty. Welcome to the final problem." So it's like when it was revealed that obviously he was dead in the flashback. It's obviously the girl because she had ginger hair. You know what I mean? So it's obviously her. It's just a kind of matter of kind of discerning through the episode. You know what I mean?
The the actual main plot was them like working through some sort of Riddler thing, like the assistant took on kind of a Riddler role, putting them through trials and whatnot. I didn't really dig the first one with the bloke and his wife.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb because I figured, I kind of figured like even if I I thought, oh, even if John Watson did kill him, I figure she still would have shot the wife. It's like whatever, you know what I mean? But like he he must have been dumb. The governor or whatever must have been dumb to shoot himself in the head because you said quite clearly it's got to be one of the others. So for him to think, oh no, if I shoot myself, it's all going to be cool. It's like, dude, it's like, why do it for? It's like obviously him shooting himself wouldn't have changed anything. I figure he was just doing it because he couldn't hack it. It was just like, you know what, I'm just going to shoot myself, then it's not my problem. You know, I won't have to deal with it because I'm dead. But the reality of it was like, see, I think that was interesting because I think that was them just like backhanded trying to like reveal that Mycroft was a bit of a puss. You know, is a bit of a nanghead, but I figure, well, yeah, because he don't really get his hands dirty, does he? He don't really do anything, like ever. So for him to be, for them to like put a gun, because you'd expect it, wouldn't you? Because he kind of comes off cold-hearted and not caring, so you'd expect him to just take the gun and pop him. But like, I always kind of had the niggling feeling that he was a bit of a wuss bag. That he was a bit puss. So, I mean, I weren't surprised when he was like cowering, and then he froze up as well. I was like, oh, for God's sake, this guy's like proper baggage. Also, when like I think in the third trial, when like he had to choose between shooting either Mycroft or Watson, what it was like, it was obvious he was trying to get Sherlock to shoot him. Like,
Yeah, but although they called it out themselves,
yeah, I was gonna say, but I called that as soon as it was happening. I was like, yeah, that is pretty obvious. Um,
there was one thing that also bothered me. I forgot about it. Before we got to the first trial thing, it was the whole mind control angle they tried to push, where the sister's really in control of everybody.
I think it's more. See, that is. Do you know, like subliminal message or suggestion? It's more like it. I think that's what they kind of meant, but that kind of to kind of dumb people, it comes off as kind of mind control. But I think the point was like suggestion and kind of yeah, like it's more convincing. You know what I mean? Is one of them things where like you can convince someone to do something. So like they say mind control, but like because the thing was about the she convinced the husband to kill the guy to go home and kill his family, and that's like it's like it wasn't really touched on. They just say, "Oh, she said go and kill your family," and then eventually went and did it. So that's one of them things where you sit her down, you sit him in a room one on one, and then she's talking to him, and then she's like, "Oh, it would be a really good idea to kill your family," and it's like, "What are you talking about?" And it's like, "Listen, blah blah blah, lists the reason, real convincing." Then it's like, "Well, actually, maybe it is a good idea," and goes and does it. You know what I mean? I think that's what the kind of angle they were trying to touch on.
I liked the scene with Molly.
Oh, because he got why?
Well, because at least he got some sort of resolution out of it. You know, I think it's been weakened by the fact that Molly's not really been part of the show in
Yeah.
a big way since the first season.
What about when he melted and blew up the coffin? Was that like? See, what do you think that was about?
I don't know. I think it was anger and they needed a dramatic moment, so they won't go for it.
That's
Or either
your
that,
only
or
assessment.
either that, or it's the moment Sherlock decided to stop playing the game. No, I don't. When he walked into the next trial, when he was supposed to shoot one of them, I don't think he was ever going to play the game anymore. I think he knew from the moment he destroyed the coffin. Okay, well, how you stop those you don't play.
You've see. I thought that. See, you can look at it in many ways. Kind of was that the well, you say he snapped is like right. That's too far in the sense that he's brought Molly into it. That maybe subliminally he is proper into her, but I didn't really see him convince that he's into her. But like, see, I think that was the point where he snapped and was like, "You want to know what? You got Watson here, you got Mycroft here. You tried to blow up flipping Mrs. Hudson. Well, whether she'd noticed Miss Hudson or not, but maybe it's what you all know. What you put so many people in danger. I think maybe that was the kind of emotional part of him snapping. But then you got to look at the point where she was like, you didn't actually think there was any bombs in there really that I was going to blow her up, and then maybe it was just a fit of like kind of. What's the word? Um, n- I can't think of the word, which is really annoying because it's a simple word. That's kind of the point where he's kind of snapped. You know what I mean? Where she's kind of outsmarted him. She's literally pushed him to his limit. Where she's like, look, she's laughing in his face, and that's the point where he's just snapped. You know what I mean? And just been like, you wanna know what? F you.
Yeah, and I think part of it is control as well. He's always in control of the situation. There's never anyone smarter than him normally, apart from arguably Mycroft. But in that moment, he's being beaten and he doesn't like it.
Mm.
Um, the house. I wondered if it would play a bigger role when we got there, but he seemed to not care at all.
No, I think it was just kind of back to where it kind of all began because I think for her, I think it was more of a thing about her. At that point, is kind of all about like her thing, and I think her going back to the house because she like set fire to it and then she was taken away and never kind of went back there. So I think for her, all of them back there at the start again, her and Sherlock, where it all began, like in that house, I think that was kind of important for her. Like, I think looking back, it should have been more obvious that Redbeard wasn't a dog. I think that was kind of obvious. I thought it was going to be another brother, but the problem is when they said Mycroft's been lying all along, I got it into my head that maybe he was Redbeard and he was at the bottom of the well dead, and there was just some other guy pretending to be Mycroft. But then I thought actually, it's like, but you never know because he was all over the place. He's been repressing things mentally. He was all over the place. So for someone to just like creep in and like some other kid to come in and pretend to be the brother, but that's like the long game. But then I thought, nah. I figure it was definitely like a kid, but he must have been. How good of friends must he been with this kid to like melt off the fact that he got killed? I mean, how old
I
was
don't
he?
know.
He
That's
was
what I
like,
thought. I thought it was another brother as well, but
yeah.
some random friend. That's what I mean, though. It's some random friend we've never known about, we never cared about, and suddenly we're meant to. It doesn't.
Yeah, but I think it had to be a friend more than a family member, because I think it was put upon that obviously that's why he kind of detaches himself and has no friends, for the fact that the only friend he actually had was like killed as a result of having that friend. If he wasn't friends with that kid, if he didn't play with that kid would still be alive. So if you look at it like that, that's why he keeps people at arm's length, subliminally out of fear that something like that could happen again. Which
Right,
kind of does happen, but they kind of get out of it. You know what I mean?
right,
Because
and there's symmetry of Watson in the world as well, but just felt it was a bit forced. Um, I also did not like a couple of
I thought there
what.
was only two things you didn't like, and that's all coming
Yeah,
out the
suddenly I'm
woodwork.
remembering.
4 points later, what else don't you
This
like?
is more minor. It didn't take me out of the show. It was a couple of scenes I didn't like. There was, I would call it a bit Doctor Who-ish, like a bit too on the nose. One where it was with the Shroud and that random cop. It was like, oh, is that him? Oh yeah, he's a great man. Blah blah blah. Yeah, some heavy-handed. And then with
Well, because it kind of is a callback to the first episode. there's a
Yeah,
great man, maybe one day he'll be a good man, and then at the end of that episode, it's like, oh, he's a great man, and it's like, nah, he's a good man.
it's just a bit too soft for me.
Um, I
And
think
then,
it was like a cool little throwback. You know what I mean? I think that's what they were going for, showing love.
yeah,
Like,
who needs it? It's Sherlock Holmes, doesn't need that stuff. And Doctor Who, yeah, he's a doctor. He goes and said they say about him, but not Sherlock Holmes. And then the thing with Watson's dead wife as well, doing the same thing.
yeah, I was kind of bored of her.
Christ Almighty, she talks more now than when she was alive.
Did you see the little Easter egg at the end where they're running out of that building and it's like Rathbone Place?
No, what's that?
Oh, because obviously Basil Rathbone used to play like Sherlock Holmes like back in the day. So when they're running out of that building's like Rathbone Place, like that's what the building's called. So obviously it was a little nod back to him. So I thought that was okay, I guess.
I was I
So
was happy.
I was mullering them Easter eggs.
There's some knowledge here. I was happy Moriarty stayed dead.
Yeah,
That would have pissed me off royally if they brought him back, but they figured out a way to do it. It was pretty cool.
yeah.
The as soon as that 5 years earlier thing popped up, I was relieved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What other stuff did you like about it? Now we've moved away from the things you disliked. Did you
Well,
like the bit at the start?
which was
Like
what
after the credits were like the clown and stuff where they like got Mycroft all shook.
I did once I figured out what was going on.
Yeah.
I was a bit worried at first.
Oh, because you thought it was actually real.
Yes.
See, that's where I was thinking. Mycroft's a bit nang, you know. I was like, was he? But it was cool when he kind of see there was things that he did were a bit dumb, you know. He's meant to be really clever, so he's running away from this clown. You'd think he'd run towards him and like get it done, because he has like, and then like the fact he draws the blade straight away. I was thinking if you want the element of surprise, walk down the if you're walking down the thing with an umbrella. An intruder ain't gonna think none of the same. But like, if you stand there with an umbrella, the guy's getting close, and you whip it out and it's a sword and you stab him. You're laughing, ain't you? But the fact he drew the blade straight away and started walking around, I was thinking, wouldn't it make more sense to keep the blade sheathed? And then if something kicks off, then draw and get it done. And then it was cool when he clicked it and it turned out to be a gun. I thought that was pretty sick. I thought that was decent. But obviously it had no ammo in it. But I was thinking, there's certain things that like, I think they were kind of nodding at it anyway in previous episodes where he's not as smart as people make out. But I think I'm reading too much between the lines in the fact that he kind of drew the blade too early. You know what I mean? He should have maybe kept it a surprise. Because think, if you've got an umbrella, say like that clown's coming towards him, you've got an umbrella, they're going to think, oh, they're going to smack me with the umbrella. So they think, oh, I'll just rush him and that. So you wait for him to do that, and then you draw the blade, and then by which time they're too close, realise it's a sword, and then you like straighten their neck or whatever. That's what you do. So that was kind of an indication that he weren't so clever. But then I think that's like reading too much into it.
Yeah. I think he's clever, but I think he's actually a dick. Like a real dick, unlike Sherlock, who is also a dick but doesn't mean to be.
Mm.
I think that's the difference. I think Mycroft knows. I think Mycroft can be a human, but he chooses not to be. I like the fact that Mrs. Hudson still hates him.
Yeah.
The scene with the bomb was quite cool.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty decent. I think it all kind of resolved a little quickly because I think they're like what on the second, third floor, and like it blows up. They're launched out the window. Like they ain't landing on their feet. I'm sorry, don't matter which way you look at it, even if they're blasted forward, you know what I mean, onto the road, they ain't landing on their feet, they're probably going to land face down, so I think I would have preferred it if there's a bit of bruising around his face or something like that, or a couple cuts or something, but maybe
Yeah.
that's just me. And another thing as well, do you know like, when they get Watson out the well and they just throw the rope down and he goes to climb it, it's like, mate, you're chained, remember. Like he's in the
No,
well and he moves his feet and there's like a chained round his ankle, so that's why he can't climb out of the well or whatever. And then like they conveniently just forget about that, and then like the light flickers on, they throw down the rope and he goes to climb it. It's like, mate, you got a chain round your ankle. Where are you going?
Yeah, the episode did move quite quickly. Even for 90 minutes, they got through a lot of story. I get maybe too much, but you can't really do 2 episodes of Sherlock on one thing, can you?
No.
Um, do you think this is the end?
Um, I think this will be the end in the sense of how it was for the books. I think maybe that's kind of they'll explain it away as like that because Sir Arthur Conan Doyle kind of got tired with him, so they brought in the final problem to kill him off, and then like left it about however many years, left it a number of years before he's like, actually my wallet's hurting, you know what I mean, I'm going to bring him back. And then they brought him back like a number of years later with the adventure of the empty hearse, and turns out they weren't really dead. So I think because of all the scheduling conflicts with those two and getting the series done, I think they'll do that. They'll leave it for about 3-4 years, and then they'll maybe bring it back when he's a little older, and then maybe stick more to the cases, and then have him go into like proper retirement with his bees in his little house on the coast or whatever. I think that's what they'll do. I think that they're definitely shelving it. Whatever it is, they're shelving it, but they'll probably do like in like a couple years or something. They'll do like a special. I think they can get away with doing like one episode every so often, because I think the problem was like the 3 episode series. But if you just do like a 1 90-minute special, like every couple years, there shouldn't really be a problem doing that, should there? There'll be enough time to write it, get it done, and then like record it in between the different schedules. So I mean, apart from that, but if they're gonna do like, if they're planning to do another series, I think they won't bother touching that for like another like maybe 5-6 years.
Yeah, because I think they definitely set this episode up as a finale.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they were like, because there is so much issue around kind of the scheduling thing, that I think it would have been dumb of them to leave it on a cliffhanger or something like that, and then be like, actually, you know what? Like you get another episodes, but you get them in 6 years' time, and then you're just sitting there waiting. So I think it was better they kind of resolved it, if it were, off the basis that if there are going to be episodes, it's going to be a long wait, or whether it's like there's going to be no more episodes and that's it. So I think they covered their bases by doing that. So I think that was smart, leaving no loose ends, no cliffhangers, just having it like that. Because I figure if they do it again, then I think the Watson's kid's going to be like involved more, because they do it in like 5-6 years times, they can fast forward like 10 years or whatever and have the kid as an adult, well not as an adult because the kid would be like 10 years old, but I mean however long, you know what I mean.
right. I think the show will go away for a while, but there's no,
It'll be like Doctor Who. It'll
yeah,
go away for
but
about however long and then
it'll
come
be
back
more
strong.
because there's no reason. In American TV, I know they end and they end for good for the most part, but it doesn't really work that way over here. At least for a lot of shows, it's a detective show. It's not like it's Game of Thrones and you have to follow one complete story. There are things like Prime Suspect, which will come back every 4 or 5 years for a run, then go away again. Sherlock can do the same thing, and I think it will. Who knows where Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman's careers are going to be 10 years from now.
Mm. That's what I mean, because at the minute so busy, you know what I mean. Because I mean, apart from anything else, even though the kind of Marvel films, Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be all over the place doing Infinity Wars. The two of it is going to need to be on standby for that alone. Let alone because he'll probably bring out like every year. He'll probably bring out like another like big like epic film, like he's doing Sherlock, he's doing whatever, and then like when he did 12 Years a Slave, you know what I mean, like a big film like that, it'll probably end up being a part of like one big film a year, or maybe two big films a year, and there's just not the time to kind of do Sherlock as well. So I definitely think it's shelved. It'll probably be for about 5-6 years or something like that.
Yeah, I think so as well. Martin Freeman's in the MCU as well, and he's got
Is it actually contracted? Because that's what I was thinking about when I was thinking, because I knew we'd have this conversation, but because I was thinking like that role, it was a kind of minor role, so I figure he
It
put.
is. I believe he's a Black Panther character. I think.
Yeah, but it's not going to be anything main, is he? So I figure they'll just to forget about him.
We'll see. I don't know. I think it'll be weird to cast him and not bring him back, but you never know. I guess we'll have to
Yeah,
wait and
but
see.
if you're going to
Even,
cast him as a big character. Don't just cast him as like a nobody and then like bring him back for the sake of bringing him back. You know, unless it turns out that he's someone else, but you'd think there'd be illusions or something like that towards it. So I mean,
no. Well, even if he doesn't go to Marvel again, he's got plenty of work to do. He's got a TV show going, and I think he's got another one after that. So
what TV show?
I don't remember. I think it's something on Amazon.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. Because I know he was busy doing The Hobbit, and that'd kind of take him out the way. You know what I mean? Is in New Zealand, like filming for like however long, and that was that was over the course of like what 4 or 5 years, 3 massive films where he's the main character. So I can see where it was an issue there, but I don't think he's kind of got them commitments now.
Yeah, but he was doing Fargo as well, the season of Fargo.
Oh yeah.
Well, he got the Amazon show. He's got another TV show. I forget what that is. So he's got plenty of work. So they're both busy.
Yeah. But
So
if they've got any free time, feel free to. You can be co-anchors on this show for maybe an episode if they're lucky. But yeah,
what
the
did you
door's
think was
open.
the best episode of the season?
Best episode. Um, Either this one or the last one.
I think definitely episode 2.
You feel episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
See, it depends because they're both good, but it depends what your flex is, what you appreciate more in terms of story. Whether you put it's not like it's like oh I preferred that story and stuff. It's kind of whether you prefer the characters and how it kind of flowed. You know what I mean? If you prefer like fast moving, suspenseful and something like that, but if you prefer like the proper like kind of mystery thing, like not knowing what's going on, then you'd prefer the second episode. But if you move like fast paced action, you'd prefer the third episode.
Yep, second for me. I preferred the story. I preferred the villain and the drugged out Sherlock and how that made him perceive the world when he was drugged out. But overall, I thought it was a solid season. I think it was better than last season.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think what crippled it last season was the second episode with the wedding.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that had the lame thing with the soldier that got killed with like the belt thing, whatever that was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
So, out of 10, what would you give it?
What, season or episode?
Well, do episode by episode, then average it out for the season.
I can't even remember the first episode. I'll go. What happened to the first episode? Remind me.
Is the one where the wife got killed?
Oh right, yes, okay.
And
7.
they were globetrotting. Yeah, you give that 7.
Yeah. Second episode, 8.5.
What an arsehole.
Third episode, 7.5. So I guess an 8 and 8 overall.
What's with the 5s? I'm just gonna cut the spin and I'm gonna go straight in and give the season an 8.5.
Okay.
So that's how I feel about it. So with that, we're gonna wrap up this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to, in my opinion, the best episode series up for discussion.
What are you saying?
On the web?
What are you saying?
I'm saying, in my opinion, this show's the best show on YouTube.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I'd say we're probably top 10.
Okay. What would you rate our show out of 10?
7.5.
Why wouldn't you give us 10?
Because we're not a 10 yet. Got to have things to build up to, bro.
Wisdom. We'll see you in the next episode.